Why buy a car in America and transport it to Colombia? Here's our reasons. Reason number one, we like to drive. Colombia has amazing villages, places to go, tourism that are well outside the city. The best way to get to them, by far, is by car. You could still rent a car if you wanted to, or buy one here locally, and I'll go through both of those options as we looked at both. The problem with renting was the prices were inconsistent. There is a high and a low time, and we also saw that the prices for rental were creeping up, and there was no way of knowing when they were coming back down. To buy a car locally, let's go through some of those numbers. We ended up getting our car off of Carvana, and if you look at the 2022 Infiniti QX80 used, you see one right there for $37,000 basically. It's got $2,000 in shipping, so you're basically at $38,000. You put taxes and fees on top of that, we're probably at $41,000, $42,000, something like that. In comparison, to get a car in Colombia that's equivalent to the QX80, you would probably have to go for the Land Cruiser 300, which starts at about $600,000 pre-tax, pre-registration. Now, that's the starting price. Once you get your options in there, you're probably closer to $650,000. That's the equivalent of $150,000, $170,000 US, and again, there's a pretty big difference in price between 41 and 150. Now you can say, well, why don't you just get used? So let's go look at the used cars. In the used cars, what you're going to see here is, let's go all the way to the bottom. Maybe they've got a Land Cruiser or something. So here's a 4Runner at 300. Here is a Prado at 350. So at 350, you're basically looking at about 90 grand. That's a 22. The Prado is a much less powered vehicle than the QX80. I think it's probably around 270 horsepower versus the 400 that you're getting out of the QX80. So the prices, even in the used market, even in the new market, how do you justify $88,000 when just a boat trip away you can get a QX80 with just a couple of years and a few thousand miles, a few dozen thousand miles on it for basically well less than half the price. The question of safety often comes up. I have a Honda scooter. We had that and I got a local motorcycle license for that. And given the choice, when I tell my wife, hey, I'm going to the store, her first question is, are you taking the scooter or are you taking the truck? And if I even hesitate for a second, she says, take the truck. Because it's so much safer to drive a heavily clad luxury vehicle than it is to think that you'd be anywhere as close to the same kind of safety on a scooter. What's true for the individual is also true for the family. We are never safer driving in the city, in the country, on the highways, on the freeways, on the local roads, on the back roads, than we are when we're in the truck. We can carry 7 passengers, including the driver, and they're all, as safe as can be. People often ask, don't you attract additional attention by driving a luxury vehicle? And the answer is yes, and I don't mind it, and no, it's not that big of a deal. The yes, I don't mind it is, if there is ever a problem, ever, the visibility of this car is so great that you have 1,000 witnesses in any incident. If I were to get hit by this car or have somebody, quick stop on their motorcycle in front of me, not only do I have a camera that's running full time, and so we'd have that video footage, but there's also at least a dozen people looking at you the entire time you're driving down the road. So you have a dozen witnesses that are witnessing that interaction. Additionally, there are a lot of cars here. There's actually a lot of trucks here. There's a lot of people who drive very expensive vehicles. It's not uncommon to see a Mercedes. It's not uncommon to see a BMW. It's extremely not uncommon to see multiple 600,000 peso Land Cruisers as you're driving down the street. And so the existence of a luxury car is not the type of attention that I would attract when we would go to Mexico. If you go to Tijuana or you go to Mexicali, it's not uncommon to see a luxury vehicle drive in those areas, but it's also not uncommon to see an off-road vehicle here as well. There's plenty of parking. The roads are wide enough to drive basically anywhere a bus can go. You can go anywhere a dump truck can go. You can go anywhere a garbage truck can go. You can go. So the roads are not a problem. And so the availability of places that you can go is vast. And shopping is also a breeze, right? While we didn't have the vehicle, if you went to the store, you were hand carrying back in a taxi or in a friend's car. Now what are we doing? We're taking a shopping cart, to the trunk, loading it up. This is just like everybody else does in America. Driving to our parking spot here in our apartment building, taking the cart out and loading it up with all our groceries, and then taking it up the elevator. Extremely easy, extremely simple, extremely safe. The other advantage of buying a Infiniti, which is Nissan, it's the luxury brand of Nissan, as we all know, is that Japan is also a metric system. So with a flip of a button, everything is in kilometers, everything is in Celsius, and you feel like the car was built specifically for Colombia with just a flip of a button. That's it for this episode. If you have questions, feel free to post them. The questions I've gotten, I will get to as soon as possible. In the meantime, safe driving, have fun.